A list of things I genuinely just do not understand.
You have my attention.
This one is the fact that every single thing ever made came from natural materials in the ground.
There is a saying which is, if it wasn't grown, it was mined. And broadly speaking, everything humans have ever made has come from natural materials and energy that already existed on our planet. We are very good at rearranging natural materials into other forms that are useful to us. And I actually think this is one of the most amazing things about humankind. The fact that we invented everything around me, this phone that I'm recording on, the chair I'm sitting on, the window that's reflecting onto my glasses.
Who the hell came up with those processes? Like, who knew to change a rock and make an iPhone?
None of these things were invented in a day or by a single person, but they exist because of many years of imagination and creativity and collaboration and people building on each other's work step by step until we have all these amazing things. It's pretty cool when you think about it. And if you want to learn more about the processes in a fun way, the anime Dr. Stone does a brilliant job at demonstrating the processes involved, so go and watch that.
This is war. Why can't world leaders just like rock, paper, scissors? Like,
I ask myself this often because it is just such a waste. I understand that sometimes there's a need to intervene because bad things are happening, but ultimately I think the answer is that we have a long way to go towards advancing beyond warmongering and hatred and intolerance as a species. The fact that we still fight each other over belief systems, sexuality, race, which is entirely a social construct, makes me think that we are in our infancy as a civilization, and if aliens ever find us, they'll surely think that we need to grow up before they can make contact.
oh, I've got this really weird like dry patch of skin here.
I'm sorry?
Why do men have nipples? Does it look weird without?
All human embryos start developing in a very similar way during the early weeks of pregnancy. They have the same basic structures, regardless of whether they'll later develop as male or female. During the first weeks of development, embryos are not yet distinctly either. Only later, when sex hormones like testosterone begin to influence development, do male and female bodies start diverging more significantly, and by the time that those hormonal changes occur, the nipples are already there. And there's no strong evolutionary pressure to remove them in males because they generally don't cause any significant disadvantage. And yes, I think men probably would look a bit weird if they didn't have nipples.
How the hell was the London Underground built?
The London Underground was built gradually over many decades using different construction methods as technology improved. The earliest sections were built using a technique called cut and cover. Workers dug a large trench along existing roads, constructed the railway in the trench with brick walls and a roof, and then covered it back over. It was very disruptive because streets had to be dug up, but it was the only practical way at the time to build tunnels. And in the late 19th century, they developed large circular tunnel boring shields that could dig through the clay beneath London. Workers excavated the soil while the shield protected them from collapse. Because these tunnels were round and relatively narrow, they became known as tube tunnels, which is why we still call the underground the tube.
You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Asking questions and never stop learning.